This is official.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Colony Pit, where we catch up with our Colony friends and alumni. And we have a legend on today's show. Rex, who's in the hot seat for us?
We got the Colony's finest, my man, Chucky Dukes, class of 1989, is in the building. Before we start going down memory lane with Chucky, though, I want everyone to punch that subscribe button for us on the channel, help us out a little bit here. But Chuck, before we get into your story and such, we got to find out how Colony you are. So a few warm-up questions, I guess we'll say. Let's go back. It's 1989 all over again, and Papa Dukes hands you the car, the keys to the Dukes mobile, and you're going to Curver Cream. You got to pick. You got room for 4 people with you to go to Curver Cream. Who are you picking up, and what flavor are you getting at Curver Cream?
Wow. Well, I'll start with the flavor. I like the twist. I like the chocolate and vanilla twist.
Nice.
Okay. Is that in a cup or a cone?
That's in a cone.
Okay.
Big boys eat cones. We don't cup it.
Well, it was 89, so you weren't quite big boy yet, but whatever, we give it to you.
Yeah, but I was trying. There was girls watching. So,
all right. Who are your 4 people you putting in the Dukes mobile?
Wow, that's a really good one. At that particular time, it probably was Dave Osher, Steve Osher, Mike Sicosio. Oh, who's the other one? I don't know. I don't know if I could have got a third one in there. I would say Chad, but probably not.
Your brother? Okay. Yeah, I think he would have came anyway, even if you didn't invite him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
John, let's go to question 2.
All right, here we go, Chucky. Where are we most likely to find you at back in the day? Where are we most likely going to find you at Leechmere or Kmart?
Leechmere? Well, I don't even know what Leechmere was. It definitely was Kmart.
Okay.
It definitely Kmart. Yeah, I would have been the Kmart. They had the popcorn. They had the popcorn in the long sleeve bag, and for a quarter you could ride the horse. You rode the horse.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even at 17 years old, you could ride the horse for a quarter.
The horse.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. All right. John, did you have a follow-up on that?
Oh, I was going to say, Chuck, here's a bonus question, man, because we've been doing a lot of research back when we were younger. Have you ever put anything on layaway?
I never have, but my mom has a couple times.
Okay.
Like I know that they put it on. I never understood it. Like, just, you put it to the side, you walk out, you come and get it later. I was like, what are you doing? But you understand? I never understood that at all. I'm like, can we get it now? I probably got a couple of whoopings for crying in the aisle, yelling and screaming, shit like that. So, yeah, okay. No.
All right, fair enough. Favorite party spot back in the day: Garcia's, Golden Grill, or Bogey's?
I even give it to you in order. Number 3 was probably Bogey's. You know what I mean? It just, I really, Bogey's was like, Number 2 was probably Garcia's. And that was okay. My friend worked there. Desmond worked there. So we get like free chips and stuff every once in a while. Matter of fact, that's when I knew he told me what an enchilada, what an enchilada was, or some shit like that. It was crazy. And then the number 1 is the Golden Grill.
Okay.
Yeah, the Grill.
Nice.
And how do you know about this? Like, what do you?
We do our research here on the Colony Pit, Chuck.
I see that because there's no white guys at the grill. There's no white. I never saw you at the grill.
That's okay. I was at the end zone though. That
You
that
were
was
yes,
all
you
that
were at the end
matters.
zone. Yes, you
That's
were.
all that matters. We'll get to the end zone later in the show.
Yeah.
But go ahead, John.
All right. So where are we mostly going to find you at, Chucky? The Great Escape or Water Slide World?
I couldn't swim back then. I wasn't going no water. Um, Probably Great Escape.
Okay.
Cause
Uh,
yeah, Great
all
Escape.
right. All right. Friday night back in the day, you and your boys got some time to kill. Which mall are you being mall rats in back in the day? Northway Mall, Colony Center, or Crossgates Mall?
Cross gates, but we weren't mall rats like that, Rexter. We didn't. We went to this. We went to your spot.
You went to what?
We went to the other spot, the number one spot in Colonie. Jeez, you know what that is. Across the street from Pizza Hut back in the day.
Colony Community Center?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm just saying your favorite mall back in the
Oh,
day.
Crossgate. Yeah, Crossgates. Yes.
Crossgates. Okay. All right. All right, John. Last warm up question, and then we're gonna get into this.
All right, here we go, Chucky. Where were we most likely to find you at? Playing Pop Warner? You already said no to the swim team.
Yeah.
Golf, bowling, or you dancing?
Oh, back then
Yeah.
I was on Pop Warner. Pop
Okay.
Warner. You know. Yeah.
All right, Chuck. So here we go. So now we're going to get this party really started. So we're going to go do this like Pulp Fiction, where the beginning's going to be the end, and you're going to take us all the way back here throughout the course of this conversation. So, what is it you're currently doing right now? What's your job, and you still living in the Capital District?
Capital just yeah. So I have my own business right now. Personal training. If you know fitness training, but I deal with a lot of athletes. So basically, you know that part of training you want to call it personal training, yeah, but really it's about sports training. Explosive work and things of that nature. And then I work in the school. I work in Albany School District,
Oh, okay.
security, work, and then Albany School District.
All right. Cool. All right. Now let's go back the opposite direction in time. Tell everyone what part of Colony did you grow up in, and in the general area, who were kind of like some of the people living in your maybe not neighborhood, but that general area back in the day.
So I grew up Colony on the how you want to call it? I guess you call it the west side of Route 155, where Kmart would have been. So more along the lines of where Maywood School is.
Okay.
Um,
You were a Leisure-Kill kid then.
I'm a electrical kid and went to Maywood. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And my neighborhood, I mean, we had a lot of kids that we could run around with. Like I said, it was the Oshers and the Secocios, the Morrisons, the Rutlands, um, the what was her name? There was a couple girls in there. So I mean, we had kids. We had kids we could run around with. Like we could
Right.
run around, play, ride bikes in the woods, you know, things of that nature. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So now let's focus on high school a little bit and the 4 years of high school. I think what might be interesting to tell people is that a lot of people I don't think realizes that you didn't actually go to Colony all 4 years. You started out at CBA and then transferred back into Colony. Maybe tell everyone a little bit about what was that transition like going from CBA back into Colony? Because I know for me, when I went from Burnt Hills to Colony, I remember my first day of high school, and like it was a big jump. And I'm curious to hear what your experience was, because you already kind of had the Colony in you, but it's still a different kind of school.
Yeah, well, you know, you're right. I went through CBA, very smaller school. Um, Basically, kind of knew everybody there. I played up in level of sports a lot of times, so I had the luxury of hanging out with kids that I knew at my age, and then you know some of the older kids at CBA. Going back to Colony, um, some of my friends I hung out with, to Cross Gates or Cover Cream and all those guys, I kind of knew them. So I had some faces, and there were some, like you said, you know, I went to Maywood, I went to Leisure, so you know there was going to be people that I did know. But the transition was really tough. And the reason why I say it was tough is because I didn't want to go back. My mother sent me back there. Um, so it was like, listen, you're going back, buddy. She just thought it was the best place for me. Obviously, I didn't. It wound up being the best place for me, athletically and academically. It was a big, huge jump academically for myself. CBA, it wasn't so much of easy, but where I was when it came to my academic levels, I should have been a little bit higher. And then when I got back to Colonie, they were like, nah, this is where you're at. And I had to work. Um, Huge school. I remember my first day to Rex, going there, very pissed off. I was mad. I was upset. I, I think, it was just crazy. I didn't want nothing to do with Colonie whatsoever. And then the bell rang, and it was like,
Yeah,
what
the
the,
bell.
the bell? I'm like, are you fucking? I'm like, what the? It
That
was
first
nuts.
bell. I
The
remember
first
that
bell.
first bell too. Walking out of homeroom the first
Yeah,
time,
you're
it
like,
was like jail just broke out.
broke out. Yeah, it was just, I'm like, what is going on? And then I remember the buddies, they were hanging out on the railing up top on that
Yeah,
rail.
the spot.
That's the spot. Yeah, you had to be a cool one to hang out. That was cool.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, but that was the spot, and
That
it
was
was
the
like
spot.
it was kind of safe too because you had like a 2 foot buffer between anybody that walked by in the rail.
Yeah,
No one
yeah.
ever walked like on
No,
the
no
rail.
one rocked. Yeah, you fell over the rail, you died.
You
So
got right. So it wasn't like there. So you all had that two. If you stood there, you had the buffer, um, and so forth. So um, yeah, I remember that. But over time, it was kind of like, you know, who do you hang out with? Who do you meet? And everybody had their friends. You know what I mean? Like it was one of the. And I came in the middle of the school year, so it wasn't like at the beginning of the year. It came. I came in right after Thanksgiving. I think it was. Actually, it was right after Christmas. I wound up going there, and so people had their friends and their routines and stuff like that. So I had to.
what was that? 10th. That was 10th grade for you,
That
right?
was that was in 10th grade. Yeah,
Yeah. So about mid-year 10th grade
mid
after
grade. Yeah,
basketball season or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right.
So but it was oof.
Yeah.
College was
It's a big
it
day.
was
It's a big day.
big day and big people, a lot of kids. I just was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
So I was gonna say, Chucky, when were you recruited to go to CBA? Because I remember I was telling Rex a story when I played Pop Warner, and I don't know, you probably don't remember this, but we were playing. I don't know if I was at Sand Creek or we were at West Albany Pocket Park, and you came up there with Coach K and another player. And I remember Coach K told us, he said, "Hey, you guys have a decision to make on where you go to high school next year." And I'm thinking to myself, well, doesn't everyone just go to Colonie? And then that year, I played a game, actually, it was in Albany, and I played defensive end. I was just playing defense all the
Yeah.
time, Pop Warner. And I asked the coach, I said, hey, can I go in and play running back just once? And so I went in and I ran the ball twice for 15 yards. That night, Cliff Lehman called my house and asked to talk to my dad, and they were going to offer me a scholarship to go play running back at CBA. And like I said, Chuck, I only played 2 offensive snaps that whole entire year in Pop Warner, but they saw what they liked. But how did you go from like Glacier Kill to CBA?
Well, yes, it's funny because I got. Yeah, you could say recruited. Yeah, I don't know if they've kind of used that back in the day, that actual term, but yeah, that's what it was. It was um, Cliff Lehman spoke to me at the time. Mr. Grasso, he used to
Mm-hmm.
be there for McGinn, sitting there all the time. No LaSalle people, because I don't know if that was like one of the big things. No one from Academy that I remember. But yeah, I played, and Lehman talked to me one time, and he's like, "What do you think about CBA?" I'm like, "I don't know. What is CBA?" And the military's gonna, and then you talk around. It's like, "Oh, okay. Let's check it out." So yeah, I wind up going on a visit. Um, I wound up going on a visit, and one of the things that really that was intriguing to me was they had like a cafeteria, but not like our cafeteria, like grade school cafeteria. Like they looked like they had like a really like cafeteria fine in the mall or somewhere, like a hotel. They had like drink things where you put your, what I'm saying, like fountain. They had fountain drinks, and you could get hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries. Like it was really crazy. I'm like, yo, this is nuts. So after after dinner, they had these big cardboards, and I guess if the girls, the cheerleaders that were from Holy Names and Mercy at the time, they would come over. And obviously, I guess if they liked you or if they were attached to you in some way, I don't even know how they picked who it was, but they would have your name on it, and they put like all this candy on it. So we get done and we go in this one area, and I'm seeing like all these big, huge cardboard pieces, names on it. Good luck, good game tonight, Twizzlers, Reese. I'm like, yo, I want one of them. Like, this is like, forget playing football. I just want to come here and meet a girl, and I get all this candy. So, but needless to say, we came for the visit. It was good, and my
Cool.
mom was like, go for it. Hey, you want to go? You want to go? I don't remember getting too much, but I'm sure I got a little bit money off scholarship wise. Um, it wasn't free, and I hate when people talk about, oh yeah, I got a free. Like, I don't know nobody that went for free. Like,
Right.
I know, you paid something,
Right.
and I tell people all the time, like, if somebody was gonna be free, it was gonna be me, and I
Uh,
wasn't.
we know that. We know
Yeah,
that you would have found a way to make it free.
yeah, we
Uh,
don't
yeah. So, well, Colony, you paid your mom and dad paid their taxes, so otherwise it was free.
yeah,
So you played three sports at Colony, correct? Track, basketball, football.
yep.
Um, we're good in all of them, and football, obviously, that's kind of what your name is usually attached to. Um, talk to us a little bit about the transition from, because you were playing in the big, I guess it was called the Big Ten back then
Yeah.
with CBA, to the transition to the Suburban Council. And you know where I'm going with this, and because it started off a little rocky and then it shot up, and we all kind of know the history from there. But talk to us about the initial transition.
Um, but I think the initial transition was kind of tough for two reasons. One, I don't think I was in the right frame of mind. Like I said, I was irritated. I didn't. To be frank, I just felt like CBA was better. I was better being there, and that's just where my mind was for a little while. Yeah, the game in the Big Ten, which Big Ten back then was basically city schools.
Hmm.
You know, if you really want to say the Mount Pleasant, Lytton, CBA,
Troy, Albany.
Roy,
Yeah,
Albany, city schools, Catholic Central,
yeah.
stuff like that. So and then out here in Suburban was
And then you met Saratoga.
yeah, right. You must say the right. Then you had the suburban schools, which it was really funny because the brand of football was like really different. And
Yeah,
when I say that, I'm saying it, I don't know why in the sense of football should have been football, but for whatever reason, Big Ten football was, I don't know if it was just more not as physical. Maybe the kids were more flashier, and they still ran and hit and stuff. But like the Big Ten, I mean, the Suburban was like big boys running out, and you better get it. The other side of that was I think there was more athletes now. More athletes in the Big Ten.
hmm,
Like, there was just you went around like you had kids for days. Like that's
right.
just how. So yeah, and then I thought my style in the Big Ten was where it was supposed to be, and I had success young, eighth and ninth grade. But when I came to Colonie, yep, first game of the season in Saratoga at Saratoga, and it was unfortunate. It was fortunate that my brother played on the team for a couple of years, and as the story goes, we're up there, and it might have been like maybe the second series or the third series of the game, and I ran through the line of scrimmage, and it was like just kept getting pounded, like no runs, no big runs, no nothing like that. He's just like, yo, stop dancing, like just he like I think he picked me like by my pants, like yo, he's like, just run, like what I mean, like just run, like just
Yeah,
run, and we wound up losing. I think I finished okay, yardage wise. I don't remember, but from there it was like okay, these are the big boys. Like I'm not saying they weren't, but these were bigger boys. These are the big boys. Um, and yeah, so I just focused on getting in, and that's where the mindset of getting in, getting out, get in
yep,
the hole, get in the hole, get out. And once that came that. It was like you said, then it was just big games after big games after big games. But we had a good team too. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
11th grade, you had a good team, up well above average team, and then senior year comes and it's on. You guys are loaded, top to bottom, offense, defense, you know, everything in between. Talk to us a little bit about the talent on that team in terms of the names we usually hear about, but then maybe some of the names that didn't get a lot of clout, but were really good high school football players.
Okay, so it's funny because I talk about the team every once in a while, and when I talk about it, and I really believe it, and I'm not saying because I'm on the team, but like I really believe like it'd be hard pressed for somebody to tell me that our team wasn't the best in Section Two, like history. And I back it up by saying this. I haven't seen all the teams. I know there's some great players, better play like the Charlie Lees of the world. You know what I'm saying? What's the other kid? There's a couple guys at Albany High that was crazy. McGinn. I mean, you know what I mean, like they're. I mean, shoot, McGinn had a couple. Then you had Butch Bird, like Amsterdam. Like there's some single guys, studs. Team, I'm not sure. So when I say that is that yeah, um, number one, I had a lot of guys on the front line that were that wrestled. Okay, they weren't big. They were tough. They had good feet, and for whatever reason, I think that contributes to the wrestling portion of that. Okay. When our team wasn't actually really wasn't big. We just had like I would say like average high school kids, 5'9", 5'10",
Yeah.
line 230. You know what I mean, 240. But they were very, very
Athletic, agile.
athletic, yeah, athletic,
Who are
agile.
those wrestler? Who are the wrestler guys you're referring
Oh,
to?
those guys were like Kenny Sesnet, Mike Donvito, Greg Woodward,
Okay.
PJ Steffen, and and then we had Huey Boychford. I don't know where he fell into this, but he like fell his way in as a center,
Right.
um, and he wound up doing that. So like that was like unhidden talent that people didn't understand that. Then
Was
when
Was Don Smith there too, or was he there the year
Down
before?
was a tackle, Down was a
Okay.
tackle.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
Down was a tackle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got you.
And I don't know if Don may have wrestled too.
Okay.
He may have wrestled too. But yeah, Don was there. Then we wind up having, and those guys were on both sides of the ball. And then we went out with, I'm going out with like our Titans like Warren Ginning and PJ Steffen. So PJ was just solid inside and out. Warren back then was probably the best athlete on the team.
Wow.
Like like
That's saying something.
yeah, like bar none. Like could run, could jump, could catch,
Yeah.
could hit. He came off the corner like he was a problem.
Shout out to
Like
Coolidge, wherever you
yeah,
are.
yeah, I'm a cook Coolidge. Yeah, he was serious. And he wide side, short side, it didn't really matter. But the kid could run. I don't even know if he knew what he was doing all the time. But people don't know this either. Is when he was a junior, he was getting recruited.
Mm.
Like
Wow.
probably more than anybody else at the time, but he was other than myself maybe. I mean, I had my letters coming in there, but Warren was getting recruited. Very smart kid. I think Rex. I like to say I think he had like a 1400 SAT. Like it was up there, 15.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Warren's a good guy, so shout out
yeah.
to Warren. And then who do we have on the
Well,
edges of the wide receiver?
then we had David Gamble on one side, Paul Rockenstein, and Sean Lemarese, and they
There
were
you go.
all different. They were all different. Dave was over the shoulder, kind of like stretch the field a little bit. Paul Rockenstein was like that medium guy, come across the middle, this, that, and third. And Lemarese just had like hands for days. Now he probably had the best hands on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a kid that come off the bench like Phil Costello, but we
Yep.
just couldn't get the kid filling. And Phil could really catch too.
Yeah, Phil
But
could play.
but Sean Lemarese, really, really good hands, and what showed for him was he was our punt returner. Now you had me back there, you could have had all these other people, but he was back there doing punt return because he could catch the ball, like
Right.
literally. So, he had that. And then and Warren played tight end too on the other side. Both Warren and PJ Stephen played tight end. And then he went to the backfield. He had Tony Valenti, At quarterback, I mean, could throw for days, unlimited range, like just flat out
Right.
could play.
Cannon.
And then yeah, Cannon. And then you have myself, Chad, and so forth. So and with that little dynamics, it was like Chad has been there for a while, and the thing was is we ran a split backfield. But for whatever reason, yeah, they used a bigger guy going up there in the muck all the time, which was Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Pound out, and then I'd come off of him and I run on the edge a little bit more than so much of in the middle. But the people don't understand, and we'll probably touch that down the road. Is Chad could have done what I've done,
Yep.
and people and they'd ask me too, what do you talk about Chad? I go, Chad was a big me,
Yeah.
but you didn't see the big me until later in his career.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You saw the little him because I was there. I could do all that.
Yeah.
Once I left and once he went on to college and pros and stuff, you saw the big me. You're like, oh shit, he had that. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like it was there.
He
But
showed
with
it all
that
the
being,
following year. He showed it when you guys didn't have
yeah,
they
right,
didn't have nearly
basically,
as
yeah.
much, and he didn't have another him in the backfield either. He had good players, but it wasn't another Chad. So I agree with you.
Yeah, he had that. And kudos to him and the team for that one too. Backing
Yeah.
them back to Super Bowl. But yeah, team wise, when you look at the kids that I had on that team, like literally, they they were the best at their positions, pretty much. Like, and when I say that, I'm saying within like in 2 years, because we all made all stars. Me, Dave, Tony, Davido says like it was ridiculous that made it, but the way that they played and their mental toughness was nuts, Rex.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you were kind of young coming through, but I will say, like, I don't know where it came from. I could make some guesses on it, but when it came to playing the game, they played the game as a team, but it was individual.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And when I say that, it's kind of like, and I'd go back to go like linemen, they're used to going one on one.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like when you wrestle one on one, hand position, free position, and the mindset is I got to handle what I have in front of me. And that's part of if you haven't done a single sport, meaning when you have to compete on your own, you probably don't get that. You don't get that attitude. You don't get that feeling. They had it. And then when you moved out, and they played, and the other thing is they played other sports too. And the reason why I said because like Dave Gamble, basketball, baseball, ran track. Sean Limerick was a very good baseball player,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good hooper. Paul Rockenstar, very
Yeah.
good baseball player, good hooper. Chad Dukes, myself, Tony Valenti, played baseball. So when you play these other sports, and the other sports that they play, they were team sports. Listen to me closely. They were team sports, but you played individually within the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you play baseball, you're up there by yourself. You got to focus. You got to be there. You know what I mean? Basketball is probably more the one that's good. When you ran track, you ran your own. So when you put all that together and you have a lot of them, not just one, like the whole. When I say that, I say the core of our team. There's probably like a good 20 of them. The core of them, they all play multiple sports, and the other sports that they play were individual sports.
Yeah.
And when you play an individual sports, you got to be able to focus. You got to be able to handle the pressure. You got to be able to work with other people. Even though you got that individual, you got to be coached by other people, and you got to go perform. So I and the guys that went on to play at the college level, they did very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chad did very well in college. Chuck did very well in college. Tony Valenti did okay, but I'm gonna say well in college. You understand what I'm saying?
DG.
DG,
Yeah.
he did very well in college. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then then I'll break it down to the last one. We had three pros,
Right.
like
Yeah. That
three
doesn't
legit.
happen often.
Doesn't happen often.
Even one pro is a lot.
Right,
Yeah.
three on
Yeah.
literally on one roster.
Right.
And Chuck, that's one question I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure people who played the sport is always they don't get to talk to a Chuck Dukes that actually excelled in high school, in college, in the pros, like when you were playing football, for Colonie and you're there, like, did you see the game in slow motion, or like, how did you see the game? Because again, you don't become the Section 2 all time, Russian leader by being everyone else. And I know I can remember one time in my career against Saratoga that I actually, like Michael Jordan said, like, you were just, everything just made sense. Like, you could see everything clearly, you could play there, like you were in the zone. And out of all my high school career, I can only remember one game against Saratoga that was in the zone. But again, for someone that, at your caliber for what you did, I was just curious, like, is that something that like every game you were in the zone, or how did you see it through your eyes?
There was no zone. It was play the game, get a hot dog and soda afterwards, and go home. like I'm like seriously, like there was no zone, and and when I say that, I think, and to be all honesty, I think that's why I did so well.
Yeah.
Like
You didn't
I didn't
overthink
know,
it.
yeah, I never overthink, but like I when I say this, it's not literally for high school, but you're gonna understand when I make this comment. Like I didn't know nothing about like point spreads and stuff about sports. Like I think I didn't know that until like I graduated college. I didn't watch the game and go, "Oh my god, they're doing this, they're doing." I used to watch the game and go, "Oh, he's fast. What did he do? I like number 23." You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even remember watching full football games. Like that just never happened. And I think what that was is because on TV it just wasn't it was fake to me. And now when I say fake, meaning like I couldn't touch those guys.
Right.
Like those guys were on TV. I don't know who they are. They could be from Mars for all I know. You watch and you go home. So I think I'm going to use the word sports pure. That's what it was. I think I used to get up, get breakfast every day at the local store. His name is Jay Zim and Donis. He used to give us breakfast. He used to give us a box of protein bars to hand out to the team every single day, and he just played. Like I just
Yeah.
ran around and played. I didn't know nothing about lowering the shoulders. I just was running.
Right.
Now once,
You're good.
Okay,
yeah,
you're good.
I can hear you.
once you had to practice without being on the field, meaning film work and looking a book, then that's when I started to be like, oh, okay, this is how we're doing this. This is kind of crazy. I don't understand it. All the positions, what they mean and what they do. I had no clue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, slow down. No, I'm not gonna say no, but I know when I got to BC, it was very easy.
Okay. Why don't we
Yeah.
why don't we pause it right there then, John, and let's transition
Yeah.
out of the
So,
segment.
yeah. So Chuck, like I said, we'll end the segment here. Then we'll just pick up when you finally, it's your senior year and you graduate, and we'll pick up from there. So for everyone who's listening, please subscribe and follow us, and we'll pick up with Chuck Duke's story as soon as he gets out of Colony Central. So tune in to hear part 2.